then you want to fix it, because at the end of class, what I would do is that I for sure will turn this into student paste, and that way you can go back and copy your notes, or you can save it. For the lesson today or for the next couple of days, I'm going to ask you, if you have a piece of paper, jot those down. Follow the step if that's easier for you instead of Pear Deck. Because when we do the summative, Ms. Hujara and I cannot really tell you what to do for each step. I may remind you, step 2, find the class width. Step 3, find the upper class limit. So those are the things we can remind you, but we're not going to be able to tell you specifically what to do. So I think it's best if you have paper and pencil so you can take notes, right? So let's review the lower limit. And I think most of you got it. Some have something else. So the lower limit is, I'm going to highlight the class. This is one class. This is the second one. This is the third class. So each row, each interval is one class. The lower limit is the number in the front, the lower values of each class. So I'm going to list them out, which is 20. And then the second one will be 30, 40, which is the third class, 50, 60, and then the last one is 70. So that's the lower class limit. The upper class limit is the bigger values. It's still on the same column, but it's the bigger value. It's just right here, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then 80. Okay. The class width, I think most of you got it, but I have a couple of students make a mistake on the class width. The class width is that you want to find the difference for that specific class. So in here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes altogether. You don't have to find the class width for all of them because they should be the same. So I'm going to pick one to do. Let's say I would choose this class, which is 50. I'm taking the upper limit minus the lower limit, and that would give me the class width, which is 10. Now, if you chose a different class to do the subtraction, it's going to work out the same way. So let's say if you chose this one, 80 minus 70 will give you 10. So it doesn't matter which class that you chose, it's going to give you the same values. So for the class width, I don't care which one, pick one and subtract, and that will give you the number. Most of the time, I will use the smallest one because I like to use smaller numbers. But you have a calculator, then that's not going to be a problem. So either one, okay? The range is, this is really easy for us to make mistake between class width and the range because we do subtract one number from another one. So for the range, this one is different a little bit. I'm not going to focus on one class. I'm going to focus in the entire group, the entire column. So the range is going to be the highest values, which is 80. And I'm going to subtract with the lowest values, which is 20. So that would be 60. Okay. So any question for me on these? These 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we talked about last class. Okay. All right, so we talk about the lower class limit, we talk about upper class width, we talk about range, and then I believe we stopped at, so this is a frequency table that's given to us, and we kind of learn how to read it, right? The one that we start to find the class width when they gave us a list of data. So we're gonna come back to the next slide. I'm gonna close that, cancel. So the next one that we looked at is, this is where we stopped, okay? This is when they gave us a bunch of values. And then we want to go back and figure out the class width. because we need that to set up the table. So this is the goal for this class, for this lesson, is that when we got a list of data, how are we going to construct a frequency table like the one that we just saw? So we're going to have 3 columns. We're going to have the class. We're going to talk about the tally, and then we talk about the frequency. The first column to construct the class, this one, is going to be the hardest step, like the hardest column to work on, okay? The tally, the frequency, not too bad. Once you construct the first column, everything else is going to be okay. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a little bit tedious for you to do because so many steps. So let's review a little bit from what we did from last class. We talked about class width. We need the class width to construct this column. So we need that. So let's go back. To figure out the class width, we take the maximum minus the minimum, divide by number of classes. We did this one already. I believe we already have a number for this one. But I just want to go back and review because what I saw is that some of you in the chat and then some of you in the pear deck was like, I don't know, I don't remember. Can you help me? So I think it's worth the time for us to review this, okay? All right, so I'm going to look for the maximum values, which I'm going to look at this entire list. And last time we established 86 is the biggest number, minus the smallest number, which is we already decided, which is 7. And some of you, you know the highest and the lowest number, but one thing that you was like, how do I know how many classes that I should divide by? This one right here. They will tell you in the instruction, okay? So they will tell you, I want 5 classes, I want 4 classes. They will tell you, or based on the table, if I look over here, it's gonna count 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna count right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's telling me that I need 7 classes. So even though they're not saying, but I can go back and look at my table. All right, so let's go back and finish up this problem. So I'm going to divide by 7. Equal to, that would give you 86 minus 7. That would give you 79. And then I would divide by 7. That would give me 11.285. Can someone tell me, because when we do the class width, I don't want to deal with decimal because to make my life easier, I'm going to turn this into, I'm going to round this to a whole number. I don't like decimal. I could, but it's going to be a lot of work for me when I construct that. So how should I round this one? Should I round to what values? If I divide, I get 11.285. What should I round this to? Okay. Okay, so we round down, depend on the decimal, right? So we can either round up or we can round down. So over here, I look at this one, it's the 2. If I have 5 or higher, then I would round up. If it's less than 5, I would round down. Perfect, so I have the class width, which is 11. Okay. So just to remind you, class width is 11. I'm going to use this one. So we're going to move on to the next slide. So I'm sorry? So if we look at this one, we're going to construct this first column is the class. I believe we kind of sort of start on this one, but we're going to start. So step number 1, we're going to find the class width by take the highest minus the lowest, divide by number of classes that we want. To construct the interval, because we're going to need 7 classes. So I'm going to start with the smallest number, which is 7. So I'm going to start with that. So it's important that you remember where to start. Once you find the class width, then you're like, what number do I use? And then the rest of the number we're not going to use yet. We're just going to use 7 for now, okay? So this is my lower limit. I'm going to start with that 7. You remember what I do to find the upper limit for the first class. Good. There's a reason why I find the class width, right? So remember when we find the class width, we take the upper minus the lower to get the class width. In this case, we do the opposite. We have the lower, we add the class width to get the upper. So we go backward. And that's the reason why I asked you to find the class width. We have to use that number somewhere. So that's correct. So this is lower, this is upper, okay? Now I'm going to move on to my next class. So right now I'm not looking at anything. I'm not going to use any points from the list. I'm not using those yet. The next values is like zigzag, right? It's go like a Z. Perfect. So the lower limit will be, I'm starting right here, which is always 1 higher than the upper limit. So that's going to be 19. Okay. Then I'm going to move on to the next one. I want to figure out my upper class, which is, I would add 11 again. So that would give me 30. And right now, if you guys have any question, if there's something that confused you from the last class, we did it. I believe we construct this column. But I got so many questions, I figure we can just go back and redo it. Then we can start with this one. It's going to be one more. So you can think of it's like there's a pattern and follow. It's like a Z, right? So I'm start 7 to 18, 19, 30. The next one gonna be 31. And then to get to my upper class, I will add 11, which give me 42. And then I will start with my next one. It's gonna be 43 plus 11, give me 54. Please let me know if you have questions or I need to go back and re-explain. So the next couple class, I'm just gonna fill that in and let me know if any number that confuse you. 67, 78, 79 plus 11, that would give me 90. Question for me. I also record the lesson, so I will share with you the link, the video that you can go back and watch if you miss any steps on like how I got that number, or you was absent, or you didn't pay attention and you have to step out for something. You can go back and watch, okay? I should attach that to the notes, so you should be able to see those. Questions? You okay? All right, so the next one, you got it? Okay. So the next one that we're gonna do is we will do the tally. This is when we go back and look at the list that's given to us. We're gonna use this. So I'm gonna start with the first number, 50. If I look at 50, over here, I'm gonna do this one right now. This is the first class, which is number 1. The second class, I'm going to use the different colors. The second class, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. What you're going to do is going to tell me which classes belong to, and then I will do a tally. So for 50, that I'm going to look at 50 is fall between which interval. So 50, I have 7 classes altogether. Which class do you think it belongs to, if you have to guess? Look at the interval. It's the class number, the first class is between 7 and 18. Second is between 19 and 30. 31 and 42, 43 and 50. So it's going to be class number 4. Okay, yep. So this 50 belongs to class number 4. So I'm going to just say it belongs to number 4. So I make the tally marked. I'm not going to write down 50. I'm just saying there is one number belong to class number 4. So right now I'm just start counting how many numbers belong to which, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I'm going to see for each class how many numbers that fall into that class. So right now I'm just going to count this one number belong to class number 4. Okay. Then I will go to the next number, which is 40. Which class number 40 fall into? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, or 7? Class number 3. Perfect, because number 40 is between 31 and 42. So I'm going to make one mark to indicate that's belong to class number 3. So I cross it out. That's what I would do to make it easy for me, because I'm probably going to make a mistake. If I don't cross it out, I may go back and count the same number again. Okay? All right, let's do the next one, 41. Where is this going to fall into? Which class? So for the next probably 10 numbers, I'm going to go through really slow. And some of you are like, figure it out, then you can finish the rest. Still number 3, because it's still in between 31 and 42. So I'm going to have 2 tally marks. Then I will look for 17. Which class would that be? You sure? Number 2 is 19 and 30. The first one. Okay, cool. So I cross that out. Yes, Emily, that's class number 1. Then I would do for 11. So that's what I mean by tedious, because we have to do for all the values. It's not difficult, just take time. See, 11, the next number is 11, is still in class number 1. So I have another tally. Cross it out. 22. 2. Cross it out. 44. Perfect. Cross it out. Okay. Are we okay with this? Because what I can do, we can just go and start crossing these numbers out. I purposely choose the one with a lot of numbers just so that, just in case you miss the first few, like you understand why I make a tally a certain interval. Okay. All right, 28. I'll move to the next one. 28, that should be class 2. So I make another tally. 21. 2. Then I'll go to 19. 2. Then I will get to 23. Still 2, right? So I can make that 5. Okay. So I cross it out. 37. 3. All right, so this is what I want you to do. If you know what to do, go ahead and mark the tally. If you don't, just follow along with me. Like I said, I'm going to take my time with this one, because from what I understand is that a lot of time you're not sure where to make that tally mark. So bear with me, okay? If you know what to do, go ahead and do all the tallies on your own. 51, that would be in class 4. 54, still in class 4. 42, class 3. 86 should be the last class, was class 7. 41, 3, 78, class 6. 56, cross out. 72, 56, okay. 17, class 1. 7, class number 1. 69, 30. If you need me to explain some number, do so, but right now I'm going to ask you to kind of practice that on Padlet or on a piece of paper if you can. 33, 46, 31, 39, 20, 18, 29, okay, 31, I'm sorry, 34, 59, 73, 77, 36, 39, where's that? Right here. 30, 62, 54, 67, 39, 31, 53 is right here, and 44. Okay. All right, so those are the tally that I got. Okay. You want to check in to see if you got the same thing or you got something. If you got something different, then let me know. I may make a mistake on my part if that is the case, but that's how I would do the tally. So question for me in the second column. Okay, thank you. Now, what I need you to do is that, can you put some sort of icon, like raise your hand or something, so that I know that I should move on to the next steps. Okay. You guys good? Okay, cool. Just put an icon if you don't, or put in the chat just so that I know that, okay, I'm good. Cool. All right, so the next one, the last columns is by far is my favorite one. And this is what you guys actually did when you do the survey, right? You kind of tally up like how many people have pet, 0 pet, and you kind of make that tally. How many people have 2 pets, and you kind of count that. So the frequency is pretty much from what I got from the tally. So you see how the tally have 5? So I just write that number out. So the last column is by far is my favorite, is the easiest one. And then for the frequency for the second class, there are 10 tally marks, so that's 10. The third one is 13 because I count, there's 13 tally marks. There's 7, 6, 6, and 2. Question for me for the frequency. No? Okay. How do we feel about this? I'm sorry, from 55 to 66? Yeah. No, I went up by 11, right? 55 plus 11 give you 66, right? No, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like the class width? Uh-huh. No, it's 11. 6, 6, if it's 10, that would be 65, right? 6. Yeah, 66 minus 55 is 11, yes. Mhm. 6. Oh, okay. Okay. That is means this one I have one extra for one of I think I have one extra. Yeah. 5. Mhm. Okay. Yes. So I miscount one of the number. Thank you. 1. Okay. All right, so let's do another one together. Um, that's what we're gonna do for this class. For the next couple of days, we're gonna look at the tables. Okay. Um, so let's look at this one. We have this data. I think before class, I think I asked you to do this one as the exit slip or the other one. I forgot which table. But for this one, we're gonna start to create a frequency with this one, which is 5 classes. So we need to find step number 1, we need to find the class width. So some of you probably feel discouraged with this lesson already, but it's like so many numbers. Don't be, okay? I'm not gonna give you a lot of table to work on your summative. I'll give you enough to work, like at least you should be able to do one table, okay, to construct one. So to find the class width, remember we have the max minus the min divided by numbers of classes. Okay, so let's go back and look at, we can identify the maximum in this list and the minimum, okay? So the highest values in here is 100. So this is the extra slip that I asked you to work on. So I'm gonna go over just to check in. For some of you, when I look like it's perfect, and some like you chose the wrong number. So it's a good idea for you to go back and check. So 100 is the highest number, and the lowest values would be 51. And then if I divide by the classes, which is 5, so 100 minus 51 divided by 5, this gives me 9.8. But I don't want decimal at my class. I want a whole number. So when I construct that first column, it's easy on me. I don't like to add decimal. So this should be 10 because the decimal is bigger than 5. So that's good. So my class width is 10. So how are we doing with class width? Well, some have not said anything. Please let us know. Okay. All right, we're going to do the frequency table. I'm going to do this one together with you. And then once we're done with this one, I have an extra slip for you to work, a practice for you to work on. So I'll share with you. So remember the class width is 10. Okay. So the class width is 10. Okay. All right, for those who just joined, make sure that I put in the link for you. It's okay. If one thing you guys need to know that if you have some internet problems, please, if you cannot join the class or something happened and that's why you missed class or be late because of the internet problem, make sure you email the deans as well because they can they can give you the right code for that meeting, right? Miss Fajara and I can only tell you if you're absent or late. But the dean should be able to put down like internet problem or they'll give you the right code for that day. Okay. So email the dean as well. Syed, I think. And then Daniel as well. And then I also have John tell me there's a internet problem as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Also, they will, like for us, if you come in late, we'll put down a tardy, and they will, if your parents send an email, they will go back and fix that code for you. So those are the things you need to do if something like that happened. All right. So, sorry. Okay. So right now we're going to go back and construct this. They will, so I'm going to go back and construct this one. So we're going to start with a class is that I'm going to start with the lowest value, which is, we already said earlier, the lowest value is 51. So I'm going to start with my lowest number. To get to the next one, what I do is that I'm going to add with my class width, yes, 10. So that should give me 61. Then I will do for my next one, which is, I'm going to add 1. Good, so that's 62. And then that'll give me 62. And then I will move on to the next one, which is going to be, I'm going to add 10 again because that's the class width. So that will be 72. 73 is the next one, plus 10, that will be 83. 84 plus 10, that will give me 94. Plus 1 here, so 95 plus 10, that will be 105. Questions on that column? Okay. So now what I would do is I'm going to go back and do the tally. So 90 should belong to class number 5. 100 class number 6. You can go in any order that you want. Then I can do 69, 81, 70, 78, 89, 53, class 1, 62. 62 is between 62 and 72, so that's belong to class 2. 80 should belong to class 3 because that's between 73 and 83. 97 should belong to the last class because that's say between 95 and 105. 62 should belong to the second class. 64, 86 should belong to the class number 4. I'm sorry, 86. 68, class number 2. 77, class number 3. 79, class number 3 again. 73, class number 3. 67, 77. I may make a mistake, so don't feel like Miss when I got something else, and I do that all the time, so it's okay. So on your summative, I would probably ask you to show the work if you need some extra point. I just talked and I forgot, did I put a tally for 72? I think. 65, 51, 89, 68, 99, 80, 82, and 73. All right, so that is the number that I got. I count the values, I put in the tally. And now for the frequency, the last column, what I just do is based on the tally that I got. This is 2, so I put down 2. I count this one, there's 12. This one is 10, 4, and 3. So that will be my frequency table. Question for me. Okay. So what I want you to do is that there is an exercise slipped or a practice for you to work on. Okay. So what I need you to do give me 1 second. I need to publish the assignment so you won't see that yet. Okay, I'm gonna close this one. Not that one. I don't want you to do that one. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to construct the frequency table. So I need to publish the assignment, so give me 1 second. Yes, I will tell you. It should be in Schoology. Okay. And then what you do, what did it mean? Frequency. Okay. So what you can do, because it didn't say that you can submit. Okay, go to practice folder. This right now we're in chapter 2. I'm not going to ask you to calculate the frequency table yet. So there is a frequency table for you to do. It's just say 1.4 frequency table, check for understanding day 1. So go to chapter 2, go to practice folder. There is the assignment say 1.4 frequency table, check for understanding day 1. That's the one that I want you to work on. Of course it's not. Let me fix that. Give me 1 second. Edit. Submission. Okay. All right. You can do it now. I will make it due when it's due. All right, so I'll make it due next class, which is Friday. So I'll make it due Friday. So you should be able to finish most of them today, I think. You should finish by the end of the class today, but I'll make it due on Friday, just in case for those who have trouble with the internet. Okay, read the question carefully. Say number 1, I asked you to fill out the answer for that, okay? So that should be easy. Number 2, I'm asking you to find the class width. Calculate the class width for the 3 classes. So you don't have to construct the frequency table, but make sure you answer the question that I asked you. So I'm just want to check in. I'm sorry? I can't hear you. Can you repeat the questions? Oh, you got 11 for the example that we worked on for class 3? Okay. All right, let me fix that. So I miscount. Is everything else is okay beside that? So Morgan, yes, I saw that too. So I just do the other one. I'll check and I'll let you, because I have my answer key right here. Yes, it's 11 for class 3, 12 for class 2, 2 for class 1, 4 and 3. So this should be correct. Okay. All right, yeah, I got my work here. All right, so go ahead and start on the, I'm gonna stop sharing for now. I'm gonna turn this into student pace. So if you need to go back and copy notes and have it or save it, you may.